Hello and welcome to the Anime Happy Hour podcast. This is episode 2, and I am Jonathan Bell. I'm joined here by my two co-hosts. First and foremost, it is our ramen-loving, whiskey-drinking giant himself, Kirk Doherty.
Hey, how's it going?
And our resident One Piece expert here, Jake Bruns.
What's up?
If none of you guys know, if you're first-time listeners, we are a anime talk show, anime podcast, and we talk about just about anything that we want to talk about for anime. We have some news, we have some random articles, we have a weekly debate on certain topics, top 5 lists, and whatever we care to talk about for that week. Just a little disclaimer, to start us out. We do swear this is an adult podcast, so just be aware of that. There is going to be spoilers on occasion. So here's your warning before we dive too deep into some of these shows. And lastly, these are our own opinions. As I'm sure every single person in the anime community has, everybody's going to have a different opinion. All three of us have our own different opinions, so don't get too salty on however you feel about whatever we say. We're just here to talk. We do also drink, so be prepared for that. By the time we hit the end of the episode, we do get a little heated. So, how about we start off with what we're drinking? Kirk, what do we got going tonight?
So it's actually not whiskey tonight. Big curveball. We're actually going with Lavenas Lavender Milkshake IPA from Rustic Brewing.
Oh. See, you always bring like the fancy stuff out on me every week.
I can't decide whether that sounds lame or super cool.
It's it's pleasantly different. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but like it's a nice change up and it's very easy drinking.
Yeah.
And that's the important part, I guess. As long as it goes down and tastes alright.
All does the same job.
Yeah. What about you, Jake?
I got a gin and tonic, some botanist gin that Kirkle put me on.
Alright. Just straight up?
No, gin and tonic.
Oh, yeah. I feel you. I decided to make myself a whiskey sour tonight, switch it up from the beer last week. Break out the bottle of Stillhouse.
Elite.
There you go.
Alright. So, what have we been watching? Has anybody really tackled any of their queue lately, other than the main weekly update shows?
I want to go last on this one.
Alright.
Turkey? Am I watching anything new and kind of different? Is that essentially the question?
What you been watching over the last week? I mean, obviously the big ones. I mean.
Yep. My big regulars, the simulcasts I've been watching. However, on Netflix, I picked up Sirius the Jaeger. It's your typical vampire hunting anime.
Fire.
So good.
It is very good.
The animation's great.
I would agree. Pretty dark. Like there's some sad scenes in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely slept on.
We're allowed to spoil things, right? You guys have seen it, right?
Oh yeah.
So I just watched the episode where the girl's dad dies. Like, he just launches the stake through his neck in front of the girl, and I'm just like, oh, whoa. Like that was like the first scene in that show that I was just like, excuse me, what am I watching?
Yeah. Those are my favorite moments in anime.
Oh yeah.
All right, Kirk. Well, I know I'm gonna hold off on one of your shows that I know you've been watching because I know Jake's gonna want to touch upon it once he gets to him.
That's why I'm going last.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but might I say, so I did start, the most recent few episodes of My Hero, which is now My Villain Academia, which is getting pretty good. I'm excited to see the villain side of everything and all their backstories and how crazy that happens to get.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes of the arc were backstories.
Yeah. I also I know we don't talk about it much because it's kind of like our Nah, I wouldn't even say guilty pleasure. We don't even like to admit that we watch it, or I don't like to admit that I watch it. But I watched like the recent Boruto episodes.
Yeah, I don't watch it.
Yeah, I know. Really pissed me off that they did Kakashi dirty. You know, they made him very. They made him bitch.
Yeah, they did that to
lost to
some
whack ass people, but. And then, lastly, I started a new show, Beyond the Boundary.
What's that on?
It was
Crunchyroll, I think.
Yeah, Crunchyroll. Crazy good. I mean, I get like, it's dark, but it's also sort of innocent. But as far as like the animation style from the fights, I get Fate series like, type fights. The animation's just that well done, like a Fate movie or show. I think it's really well done. It's a little different.
You said this is on Crunchyroll?
Yeah. It's short, too. I think it's only 12 episodes, maybe.
Gotcha.
So, we're going to have to check that out. I'll have to bring it back up once I finish it. See if the ending's as good as it started, but... Last but not least, I know what's going to come up. After our last episode, we had talked about, in the middle of our last episode, we talked about slime. Jakey, now that you proceeded to watch the whole show and get caught up to where we're at, I know all three of us have been watching slime, so...
I forget what I even compared the show to.
Shield Hero.
Oh, yes, I did compare it to Shield Hero, that's correct.
You said it was better than Shield Hero.
Yeah, it's on par, better than Shield Hero.
Which is the single phrase that caused me to watch all of it before this episode.
Yep.
Now, let me start by, first off, probably said this last episode, I'd never watched it because I can't get over the fact that Rimuru's a slime, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, we had this conversation last episode, and I was like, well, that's a bold statement. I'll have to give it a try. And I committed the sin that every single enemy or most of the characters besides the monsters commit in the show. And I underestimated Rimuru for being a slime. And I'll probably hate myself to the day I die for that. So, the show's phenomenal. Rimuru is awesome. His character's kind of boring in the beginning, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
But, once he takes over and becomes like the king of
Jura.
Town, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Jura.
when, it got really good for me. All the side characters are awesome. The fights are phenomenal.
They do all the side characters justice with all their backgrounds and like all the deep dives into all of them. I mean, they've got a ton of side characters at this point, like all of his different.
I'm just waiting for the back. I'm just waiting for the backstory on Gobta. That's all I want.
Dude, that's my second bullet point. We'll get there. Anyways, at the end of this little segment on slime, I want to talk about the most recent episode.
Oh yes, I do
you
too.
two watched it, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I watched it last night.
I mean, at the time of recording, it's only a day old, so fair warning to anybody who is currently listening. Go watch it.
So let's just jump right into Gobta, my favorite character. So Gobta looks like a bitch, right?
He is in the beginning.
Yeah.
He still is later on too.
I forget.
He just has such badass moments sometimes, though. For like,
yeah, the first time that I forget who he was fighting, but the first time that I was like, oh wow,
he was fighting the dragon guy, or the lizard dude.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And he used the shadow technique.
Dude, he's such a badass dude. Honestly, by the end of the show, I wouldn't be surprised if he's strong enough to beat Rimuru.
He's just got like
he's the real main character of the show.
And the fact that they just have him mounted up on the back of the fucking wolves now, and they just got a wolf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're the wolf
Goblin
riders, the goblin riders. Yeah. hold on. But here's the thing, though, is that Gobta's still a bitch, even now. Because, like, you have... Oh, I forget her name. The snake lady.
Oh, yeah, part of the
Yeah,
Peacekeeper.
but so she's fighting... Well, she's the head of the Beastkeepers, even. Yeah. And she's out there fighting one of the 11 fingers, the one that's supposedly the strongest. Yeah. And he has, like, that frost sword. And Gobta just jumps out of her shadow and is like, no, you ain't doing this. And then she's like, oh, you want to fight him? Okay. And he's like, no, yeah. Just kidding. It's a prank. Well, I'm good. I'm just going to stand over here. It's all yours.
The important part about that is... He jumps in right at the right moment, saves her life by stopping this dude who supposedly is only powerful because of this all-powerful sword he's got. And he's got this bunk little, like, dagger-sized sword, and he stops this all-powerful magic sword, right? But then, you know, if he wouldn't be the best character if he could smack that guy this early into the show, you know what I mean? He's still training and coming up. So he realizes he can't win, but what he did was he gave her a chance to recover so that she could beat him.
I would argue, however, that his sword is now... I would argue that his sword is better than that legendary sword. Reason being, his sword is probably made out of magical ore at this point, because Kaijin, whatever.
Yeah, the dwarf.
The dwarf guy. The dwarves made his sword now. Because I don't know if you remember, but Rimuru promised Gobta a sword, and Gobta got said sword eventually. Yeah. And whether or not that's the one, who knows, but we haven't really made a big deal out of it. But I would argue that his sword was probably better in quality.
Well, I would hope that when Gobta gets that sword that they would make a big deal about it.
Yeah. I mean, they might have. It was just, might have just not been as important of a detail to keep in there. Cut it.
All right. So anyways, Jakey, I want to know.
Talk about the most recent episode.
All right, I'm going to talk about the most recent episode, then I'm going to talk about Shield Hero versus Slime.
No, let's go right into... Before we get into the newest episode of Slime, I want to know. Just give me the quick yes or no of, is Slime better than Shield Hero?
There is no quick yes or no, but I'll brief it. I'll give it to you briefly.
Yep.
Shield Hero versus Slime. I really thought that you were out of your mind when you said that take last week. That's why I watched the show, to tell you you're out of your mind. Season 1, Shield Hero is better. Season 1 versus Season 1. Okay. And the reason I say that is because the two shows are on par with each other. They're both great shows, and I really couldn't pick one over the other. My thing personally is I like the dark anti-hero, like revenge type story that Shield Hero's got going on with Naofumi, more than Rimuru's character arc in the first season, right?
Yeah.
And then for season... Whole, what's up?
It's weird, too, because I don't think I'd put them on the same level, just based off of your general plot, mostly because of the fact that they are both isekai, but one's a lot darker more often than the other.
Yeah.
Slime has a lot of lighter moments, too. It does have its dark moments, for sure, but I don't even think they get close to as dark as...
Well, look at when Shion dies. That was real sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
That and when all the monsters are just getting slaughtered.
I'll get into that in a sec. So you're right, John. You can't really compare them because they're so different. But at the same time, if you're gonna compare shows, I think they're on the same quality as each other.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now we get into the second season of Slime, and it's better than Shield Hero. Starting with the moment that Shion dies, and what happens to Rimuru, and the when he turns into a demon lord and all that elevated the show 10 notches for me. It is phenomenal, and I'm hyped for every episode now.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait. All right, so I guess now would be a good time to jump into the newest episode, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him fuck up Clayman.
Oh man.
I haven't read the manga for this.
3 episodes before anything real happens. But
I've done a really good job of not spoiling what's going to happen based on the manga, because I have a bad tendency of doing that. Pretty much all of My Hero right now for me is just spoiled, which is my own doing. But Slime, I've intentionally made sure that I don't ruin things. And I can't... I would like to think that Rimuru fucks up Clayman and takes his spot. Like, you know how they're saying that there's 10 Demon Lords? Like, I'd like to think that Rimuru just fucks up Clayman, kills him, takes his castle, and is now, like, one of the 10 official Demon Lords.
Well, I don't think he's going to take his castle, just because I think the plan for, I forget their names, Hakuro, Shura, and the other guy.
They're just going to...
I think their plan is to, like, destroy the castle. Plus, the castle's not in Tempest.
Oh, that's right. No, you're right.
So, from what I got when Leon Cromwell met with Guy Crimson, that they don't even consider Clayman like a real demon lord. Plus, he's like trying to kill all the people in the animal kingdom to awaken as a true demon lord. Yeah. So I think he's just like an asshole that's calling himself a demon lord with a bunch of minions. But you know, he's done a lot of shitty things. But to smack Milim in front of Rimuru, which, you know, this moment is like, I doubted their friendship before, but I was like, okay, Rimuru really considers her a friend. To smack her in front of him, ballsy. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it's definitely going to get interesting coming up in the next few episodes. This season's going to be wild.
And, like, if the other Demon Lords are so powerful, how can they not tell that Milim's under a spell? Like, they have to know.
I'm sure they know, but they're not supposed to interfere.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to interfere with each other, though. And if Clayman is interfering with Milim, isn't that not a void of the Demon Lord's contract? I don't know.
Well, just based on people, like characters that are powerful and everything, I would imagine that they're so powerful they don't really give a shit what Clayman's doing.
Yeah. Because as long as it doesn't affect them, they don't give a shit.
Yeah. But something I wanted to talk about, what's the princess's name? Is it Shura?
Shuna.
Shuna?
Yep.
So, she was not waifu material before this last episode, right? Shion was a waifu. Shizue was a waifu. But after this past episode, when she kind of, like, shows out...
Yeah, they did her justice in this one.
Yeah, she's waifu material now. She's in the list.
You never actually saw her with any powers before.
Yeah, she was just kind of like the clothes maker and attendant to Rimuru.
That and brother of Benimaru.
Yeah, just part of that whole clan.
Sister, yeah.
Given Benimaru, like all of the, with the exception of Shoei, Shoei's the ninja one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the exception of like him and the old man, Benimaru, Shuna, and the other guy, the blacksmith one, like they didn't really do a whole lot. And then like this season, as soon as like they started like attacking the otherworlders and like the people from Falmouth Kingdom.
Falmouth.
Yeah. Benimaru is just like, yeah, I'm gonna kill everybody.
Yeah,
goodbye.
it's really proving why Rimuru made him like the general of his army.
Yeah. And you know what? I take that back, because even when the orc disaster guy came into being, Benimaru went to town and just started killing hundreds of orcs.
Yeah, with his like black flames. That's so dope.
Yep. But I mean, Shoei, like, he has those fretted feather whatever, the threads. He has the steel threads that just cut up everything. It's like, oh no, there's a zombie dragon. Oh, zombie dragon's cut into pieces. Zombie dragon's back. Still holds it off.
Yeah, at the end, when you just see the zombie dragon and the knight, like, on his knees and the dragon, like, down. It's like, they beat him off camera. No big deal.
Yep. And that's, I can't tell if that's a gripe or if that's kind of cool the way they did that. They introduced those two characters are like enemies as something that were going to be substantial, right? And then they just said, nah, fuck it. Like, yeah, Shoei's going to fight a zombie dragon and...
I mean, they've done that with everybody who's joined Tempest, pretty much.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, pretty much everybody that Rimuru's fought has turned into an ally of some sort, pretty much.
Well, no, I'm not saying them being turned into an ally, right? I'm saying, like, that they basically set it up like they're going to show the fight with the old man and Shoei fighting, like, the swordsman and the dragon, and Shuna fighting the lich. And then they're just like, now we're just going to show Shuna fighting the lich, like,
Yeah.
fuck it. And I was like, oh.
But yeah, they've had their own moments before this, and Shuna's never really had a moment, so they were kind of trying to put the spotlight on her.
And you know what? With that point that you just made right there, like, I was okay with it. I was like, wow, you know?
Yeah.
They did a really good job with this. Like, I think the way the plot development and the character development in this show is superb to many other shows, and it's hard to top.
Yeah, so
as far as side characters and everything goes, yeah.
Yeah. With Shuna's moment, I thought, and it goes into what you said, it was so perfectly done, because I thought for a sec, I was like, wait, how is she so powerful? And then I thought, oh wait, she's like the princess of the ogres and Benimaru's sister. Like, of course she's this powerful, she's just never had to use this power.
Yeah, she's like a magian, but... Anyways. Alright, well, we can move on to our next topics here. A little bit of news. Few small things. If you guys haven't watched it already or don't already know that My Hero has, in fact, switched over to My Villain. And so they're doing a whole arc, pretty much.
I thought it was just an episode.
Based off of the League of Villains.
Is it not just an episode?
No, it's an arc. It's a full arc.
Yeah, it's so
for the next 3 months. It's supposed to go on for 3 months.
Yeah, I'll explain it, but I'm going to try not to spoil anything because I'm a manga reader. So basically what it did was, like, the last episode, like, before My Villain Academy, was like set in the future. And you know, you've heard that My Hero is like winding down, like the author's ending the series, right? And we're not too far behind in the anime. So what it is, you know, My Villain Academy is like the big villain, almost like training arc, where they get ready for like the final act of My Hero.
Yeah, like the final fight and the final,
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, like like My Hero is going down, and this is right before it hits like the end game type.
It's got like the whole. I mean, yeah. If you've watched up to this point, you know like that there's stuff going on with the League of Villains and all the different groups of villains and everything else, and you got certain heroes in the mix and everything already. So it's kind of just putting structure and backstory to how all that came to be by, you know, giving the villain side of what's going on.
Yeah, and it's kind of a nice break from all the like, because we've got not filler. We've got, you know, 4.5 seasons of you know, Class 1A and their antics, and it's kind of a nice, you know, reprieve from that.
Yeah, because not many shows really dive into like the deeper details of like the bad guys in certain shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the next 3 months, it's all going to be My Villain. Another thing I happened to read was One Piece is going to... There's some special news coming. Nobody really knows what it is yet. And it has nothing to do with the manga, so it's not like it's something that can be spoiled by somebody who's read the manga. But once the TV show reaches its 1000th episode, they're supposedly announcing some big news, special news, whether it's a movie or a game or a live action adaptation or whatever it may be. But something's going to be announced.
So I have two ideas.
What episode are we at this point? How much
980 something.
Yeah, so a few more months probably. Week by week.
I have two ideas of what it could be. And so I'm going to tell you the first one that I don't think it is first. It's a hiatus for the show. or a filler arc, which I don't technically think it would be because it says special news and no anime fan would consider that special. But my reason being that the manga is not that far ahead of the show as it is right now. Like,
yeah. I don't think they're gonna cut the arc that they're in Wano.
No,
hiatus.
They wouldn't cut it. The manga's at the end of Wano, and so yeah, they would probably finish Wano if they're going to go on a hiatus and then take a break until the manga gets ahead.
Well, they're on 989 right now, so there's no way they're finishing it in the next 10 episodes. So there's no.
No, they would just announce the hiatus at 1,000.
Yeah, true. Once they finish the Wano arc, they might. I mean, they honestly might go on a hiatus because they're after Wano, they're planning that huge war arc.
Oh yeah.
So there's a chance that they're going to take that extra time to really dive into that whole arc instead of,
Well, if that was the reason, I would be for it.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be the biggest war in One Piece history.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to get all the big warlords and all the fun, like the good people that we've always wanted to see, So if they took the time to do it right, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, exactly. My second idea of what it could be is just some news on the live action.
True.
Like a release date or something. I'd be down for a well-made video game. Like the...
What's that open world? Well, not open world, but a little bit more open world concept one that just came out. World End or...
Yeah, no, it's World something.
World State, I don't know.
It was good, but it I don't know, it wasn't, like I want like an open world One Piece game on the level of The Witcher, which will probably never happen.
Yeah, just because they're all anime ones are they're pretty much owned by Bandai Namco.
Yeah.
And they're never gonna be on that level as...
Imagine like Assassin's Creed 4, but a One Piece version.
Yeah.
That would be wild. You could sail around the Going Merry and the Thousand Sunny and like shoot cannons at people or jump onto their ship with Luffy stretching.
Can I say what I would be stoked about?
Yeah.
You know how they did the Pirates of the Caribbean crossover with Sea of Thieves? What if they did One Piece crossover with Sea of Thieves? I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities.
Actually, I just talked to John about this. I don't remember. Oh, DC. One Piece characters had a cameo in an Aquaman comic preview for Aqualad.
Mm-hmm.
I think Usopp and like Nami and Robin were there or something like that. They had a cameo, so maybe they'll announce something about that crossover.
Yeah, just like some sort of crossover. I don't know. We'll see. 10 episodes. Well, 11 episodes, so 11 weeks from now.
Yeah.
We'll still be chugging along, so I'm sure we'll bring that back up once it comes into play a few months from now.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you guys watch Rick and Morty, but
not this most recent season.
Well, this most recent season, it's all the whole season's episode names are all based off of like movies or TV shows. They do puns on movies and TV shows, and a few of the episodes have actually made a lot of like anime references in this new season, which is kind of cool. Like there was a whole episode about that was pretty much like making fun of Gundam to an extent. Like
yeah.
they got their own, like the family got their own Gundam robot and everything, and they all had like a piece of the fucking, or Power Rangers, they all had a piece of the robot, which is kind of cool. And then there was also an episode with a giant incest baby, but they named him Naruto.
Oh my god.
And he was huge and just floating up in the sky, and then like it was actually in the same episode as the Gundam, and they had to fight like the big Gundam with the big incest baby, and they're riding on his fucking head, and
I love Rick and Morty.
Just riding Naruto into battle, but it's just a giant baby.
They really don't give a shit about anything.
No.
What, Rick and Morty? No. Hell no.
I got a fun fact. I got a buddy that works on Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about it because,
And our last news article of the day, a sad one, I'm sure, for all three of us, a lot of people. But recently, over the last few weeks, it's hit over 1,000 days without a single chapter release of Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, that blows.
And there's a good chance we're never going to see another chapter again. So we're just going to keep counting those days.
It hurts.
I'm not
Really
up to date on the manga. Is the author still alive?
Yes.
Yeah, he
Kind
just
of.
doesn't really have the motivation to do any of it or care enough to do any of it. So kind of
Damn.
just leaving it hanging.
So there's two.
They got to do me a favor. Like, at least make one more movie and make it, like, do it some sort of justice. Because the most recent movie that came out was absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It did the show so badly. I mean, the fighting, the storyline. I mean, the story wasn't canon. But even so, it's still, like, it half-assed the whole thing. It was like Kirk when we went and saw How to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
That first one that came out. They pretty much scratched the whole fighting animations and all the enemy animations and everything and just made it cheap. And it was just terrible.
Yep.
After, they put such a good show out. And I mean, I'm sure it has to do with certain licensing and certain companies are probably doing it. And it's not the same animation team as the people who do the actual show. But still, I just, give me something. 1,000 days. It's crazy.
Along that note, first of all, R.I.P. We can talk about the author of Berserk dying a couple months ago.
Yeah,
that's devastating. As someone who loves Berserk,
Mm-hmm.
it's like just now getting to the final. I mean, there was only like 1 or 2 chapters coming out a year, but still, it was something. At this point, honestly, he was such a good author. I hope that nobody picks it up and it ends up being like Hunter x Hunter, that we don't think it'll come back, because I don't want anyone to ruin his legacy like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. It's like if somebody picked back up Dead Man Wonderland. Like, we want a real successor to it, not, just a half-ass, just trying to make
Well,
money.
kind of
off.
Like what they did with Tokyo Ghoul.
Yep. Oh, yeah, season 3. We don't even need to get into that, but... Alright, well, those are our news articles for the week. Some good, some bad. Our random fact for the week, though. For the 31st episode of the anime series Space Brothers, a real-life astronaut, and I apologize ahead of time for mispronouncing names. I'm terrible at it. But Akiko Hoshide made a guest appearance on the show, and he actually recorded his part for the show while aboard the International Space Station.
That's pretty cool.
So he was on a space anime and recorded all of his lines while he was up actually in space at the space station, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah. I've never seen the anime, but that's a really cool...
Yeah, it's kind of like a slice of life type.
Which one?
Show. Space Brothers.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's a little bit more like subtle. It's not like the big shows we've been talking about, crazy action or whatever it may be. It's definitely a little bit more slice of life-ish. Grounded, I guess you could say, to an extent. Alright, well, now time to get into the meat and potatoes of the episode. Our big debate for the day is our top 5 Shonen Jump shows. These are ranked in order. And I already know that a few of them are going to be a little questionable to some people. So, how about we start with our number 5 on our list?
Who's kicking this off?
You know what? I know Jakey's top few, so I'm really curious to see what his bottom of that 5 is.
All right. I didn't put them in order, so I'll just do that in my head right now. But my number 5 is the Disastrous Life of Psyche K.
I gotta watch it. I can't even say anything about it. I can't even argue with you.
I know. Like, it's like a surprisingly just really entertaining show.
I've seen bits and pieces. You know, I can't really... I've seen, like, clips, and I've seen, like, episodes sporadically, but I haven't really seen front to back, so I can't... You know, I'm on the same level as Kirk here on this one.
I mean, it's not like an overarching story.
I've heard it compared to Mob Psycho.
Yes. Psyche's way more powerful than Mob. And his whole thing is, it's a comedy though. It's not like Mob Psycho.
Yeah.
And the artwork is not like Mob Psycho, I'll say that. But
I just find it curious that that's like, I mean, out of all, like, the tens of shows, you put that on 5. But, I mean...
Well, I mean, honestly... Well, first off, just layout of the show. Each episode is like 5 minutes, so they have like 3 episodes within each, like, quote-unquote episode. So I used to watch it like when I was tired or when I was working out. I would do sets in between the episodes. But it's just, and they're all like self-contained pretty much, but it's just entertaining. It doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah.
He's super powerful, and him trying to hide his powers kind of makes everything worse sometimes. The characters are hilariously stupid. It's really cool.
All right. Well, I'll add it to the queue.
Yeah.
Along with a million other shows I got on the queue.
In terms of, like, satire content, is it similar to, like, One Punch Man?
Yes. But One Punch Man's much more of a cohesive story.
Gotcha. Okay.
These are just kind of sporadic, you know.
Yeah,
Understood.
It's just kind of like the life of him. Just like every episode is like one little story in his life. There's no overarching plot or anything.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Got you. All right. Well, Kirk, what do we got for you on number 5?
My number 5. My number 5, I'd have to say, is probably Demon Slayer. I think it's a great show. Like, it's why it's number 5. Like, these shows, I'm not saying they're bad by any means. There's just definitely other ones that I like more than Demon Slayer. I think Demon Slayer ranks up high for me is because it has a lot of potential, and I think it's a lot better than season 1 of Slime even. Like, it had a very good first season, right? And I think it has a lot of potential. It just hasn't quite done enough for me to say, holy cow, this is one of my favorite anime ever.
And I feel like it's getting there. It could get there.
Absolutely. I want to know more about the backgrounds. Like,
Zenitsu
and who's the other one?
The
Zenitsu and yeah. I don't remember his name either, but like I want to know more about them specifically because like I think it's very comparable to Slime in the sense that, like, you have all this character development around Tanjiro and Nezuko, and then you have the side characters that you don't know much about yet. So like, if the second season,
bits and pieces in there, but yeah.
If the second season does a little bit more for them, I'll be thrilled about this anime. It's just there's like you can't have these characters and not tell me anything about them. You know a little bit about Zenitsu and how he only knows the one style of thunder breathing.
Well, I mean, you get a little bit of that out of the movie because they go into their own head, you know.
Yeah,
So
that's
you get
true.
a little bit of their own like backstory and everything as far as that's concerned, which is kind of nice. And they did the movie
Absolutely.
right. Like they didn't. I mean, because when you make movies canon, as far as anime is concerned, it's always going to be one side of the spectrum or the other, because you have to follow along a tightrope as far as what to and not to put in the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, because like One Piece, they don't keep it canon. They have their own separate story in each of their movies, which I love, because they can kind of tell a separate story and have a different theme and these crazy moves and crazy characters. And the same thing with Naruto. I mean, they have a separate. It's not canon. It's separate from everything, but it also like brings parts back into the show, which are cool. And I like that they didn't go half-ass on the movie either. They made the fights legit and fun and enjoyable to watch.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, I zoned out a little bit there, but just so you know, the movie is the next arc.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's like I said, not all the animes, a lot of anime movies I've watched, they're not canon. They kind of go on their own
Yeah.
little tangent. But, alright. My number 5 is actually Naruto. I mean, I couldn't keep it off of here, solely based on that's like my growing up type show. It's what I watched, it kind of filler and all, at the time. But Naruto and Shippuden, we don't really talk about Boruto. I'll keep that on the same level. The movie, I like the movie.
Which movie?
The Boruto movie.
Oh.
Just
Yeah,
because
the movie was good. The movie was canon.
Yes, but then they switched it around once they hit the show again.
Yeah, well, the
'Cause
show
that
starts
same
with
arc
like
came
100
back up.
episodes of filler.
Yeah. But the original Naruto and Shippuden, I loved. Absolutely loved. And, I mean, I grew up on it. I was always more of a Naruto than a Dragon Ball Z guy. So, I mean, I've seen all Dragon Ball Z too, but I was always more of a Naruto guy, so that's why it's number 5. I can't keep it off the list. So,
Yeah.
Jake, what about we got for number 4 here?
Naruto.
Naruto? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of the big 4. You can't like exactly keep it off the list either.
It's,
I
a
happily
different
left it
reason
off
for
my
you.
list.
I watched Naruto my freshman year at college. And it was the first long anime I ever watched, and it was phenomenal. Just everything about it hooked me.
Especially the early stuff.
Yeah.
Like the early Chunin exams, like how dark it was and everything. With Orochimaru and everything else.
Dude, I was
Sake,
hooked at Zabuza.
Yep. I mean,
I was kind of pissed he died. He was awesome.
that was probably one of the best, I mean, as far as long shows go, like starting arcs
Yeah.
out of shonen shows. I mean, because they kind of just throw you right into it in the beginning. All right, what about you, Kirk? What's number 4 for you?
Number 4 is Dr. Stone.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm a huge fan of Dr. Stone. I mean, part of it is I'm a science and
I was gonna
geology
say, you're
nerd.
always a big science guy. So.
Like, I went to school for earth science. Like, rocks are hard, water's wet, and fire's hot. So, I mean, watching Dr. Stone and seeing all of that applied in an anime accurately as well is really cool. And I think it's just a lot of fun and zany concepts, like, and they do a very good job of keeping true to the plot and the story and just working towards their end goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, another show, bits and pieces I've seen. I've seen people talk wonders about it, so it's definitely on the list too. You know?
I will say, I think Dr. Stone's an acquired taste. Like, if you don't like science and stuff, it might not be the show for you, but even then, like, I think it
even
has
if
its
you
place.
don't, you can still like Senku.
Oh yeah, Senku's great.
Like, just the way he goes about everything is really entertaining to watch.
Yeah. They do a good job of like pointing out human desire and how people have certain things that they'll do anything for. Like, it's a very good psychological anime, despite not being a psychological anime. Like, he knows, like, the first thing that he does when he finds the village, he's like, all right, time to make people some food, because I know that's going to win them over. And sure enough, like, he wins people over with food, and then he moves on from there, and he amazes them with, like, electricity and lights and all sorts of other stuff. And at the same time, like, even the people that are modern and that they got awoken, like, he makes cotton candy for them, because, like, he knew that What's-Her-Face had a sweet tooth, so he's like, don't worry, I got you, here's some food. Now, let me do this and this for you as well. And he made cola for what's-his-name. Like, he wins everybody over with food, which, in my mind, like, it's accurate. Like, that's how you win people over a lot of the time. Like, I'll tell our buddy Ricey Cakes, I'll be like, yo, food and beer, you want to come over? Yo, I'll be there in a second. Like, it's so true. But, like, not just the food aspect of that, like, everything else that they do is just so, in my mind, psychologically accurate that it's like, wow, they got somebody behind the scenes that they're asking questions like, hey, would this actually happen? And then, like, the psych or the whoever they got going there is probably like, I'd probably go like this in reality. And I don't know.
But they can dramatize it a little bit too, which is kind of cool. Like, that's the cool part about anime, is, like, you know, you can make it a little bit more spectacular and make it look good. That you can't necessarily do in just regular TV on a daily basis type thing, like live action.
And they do, the other thing that I am a big fan of with Dr. Stone is that they complete the episodes. They don't really leave you on a cliffhanger. Like, they'll lead you on, right? Like, they'll say, oh, this is kind of what's going to happen next week. Like, be ready for it. And there's still anticipation. Like, you're still excited for the next week's episode. But every episode contains itself, and they wrap it up pretty good in one episode every time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's Dr. Stone for me.
Just a quick question. You know, along the lines, probably not along the lines of the slime question last week, but I only watched the first season. Should I watch the second?
Of Dr. Stone?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The second season was far better.
Better than the first season?
Yeah, Stone Wars was great.
Okay. Sold.
Alright. Well, number 4 for me was, it was a newer one. I felt like I had to throw a newer Shonen Jump in there, too. And this is kind of one that I feel like doesn't surprise anybody by me putting it on this list, but Jujutsu Kaisen.
Elite.
I mean, I know it's only been in one season so far, and I was kind of split between that and Black Clover, because I am a big Black Clover fan too. But I feel like they did the first season so well as far as, like, storyline and the way it progressed, and, like, everything from start to finish just kind of kept you wanting more. And it was kind of nice too, because I mean, I was a little late to the game on that show. I kind of got a chance to watch the whole first season and only had to keep up with the last, like, few updating episodes, but
yeah,
I'm excited for the next season, as I'm sure everybody else is. But I feel like a lot of the newer Shonen Jump shows are kind of starting to do it right. They're kind of getting away from the original Big Four type structure, and kind of cutting a lot of all the bullshit out, and, you know, getting to the point and just really, they do have filler still. I mean, Shonen Jump's always going to have filler, but they don't make it unbearable, or, like, they don't make it too long, or make it a whole arc of filler, you know? They don't stretch a whole show out for however many episodes to try to get to a point, you know?
I guess I
love the animation. I mean, you can't.
It is a very beautiful show, and the fights are done remarkably well. For me, it just feels... I like Jujutsu Kaisen. I think it's good. It feels a little fast-paced for me. It feels like they're rushing the story a little bit much.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I mean, like, for instance, the when they did the sister school exchange event, right? I felt that could have taken a little bit longer. I wish I could have seen more fights between the students, like individual fights and stuff that took a little bit longer. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, that was yeah.
I wish they played that out a little bit more.
3 episodes at the most before the invasion happened.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, but that kind of sets the stage for, like, they're having fun with their friends, but at the end of the day, the curses and the curse users are going to ruin everything. You know what I mean? They're always there.
No, I get that, and I mean, like, I get both sides of it. Because I do want it to not drag on too long either. So I do get the fact that, like, and I think, like I said, Kirk, we've watched so many shows to the point where especially like tournament arcs or, big fight arcs, not even arcs, but parts of shows go so extensively that we're used to that. And so this does feel really short, being like 2 episodes before, the dark and everything else shows up. And I get you. I mean, you trying to find a happy medium in that.
And you know what? They haven't had a lot of time to develop either. So, I mean, the next season will be very... The next season will be very proving for me of that show.
But it's like Fire Force. I mean, Fire Force is done. They didn't push it any farther than they needed to push it. But it kept a good pace at the same time.
Are we getting another season of Fire Force, do we know?
No, I think Fire Force is done.
That's really sad and upsetting.
I really hope not, because they definitely rushed the show.
Or
then.
maybe the manga's done, but the anime's not.
Yeah, the last season was way too fast. The last season kind of ruined Fire Force for me. The first season was great, and then after that, it kind of sloped off.
Yeah. About Jujutsu Kaisen, I got to get this in there. What I love about it is, and I'm going to quote Changbin from Stray Kids here, hashtag K-pop plug. I love dark. I love the fact that Jujutsu Kaisen embraces, like, the darkness of, like, the curses of the world they're trying to create. And I love when shows do that.
Yeah. Which is the whole premise of it in the first place.
It's so strange, though, right? Because they are dark, right? But the only person that really dies in Jujutsu Kaisen is the one kid that, what's-his-face, the main character, made friends with. He was a curse user that met Scarface Boy, the guy with all Stitches. Like, that's the only person that's really died in the show at all yet.
Here's what I'll say to that. I've read the manga.
Yeah, the next arc is going to be brutal.
Here's what I'll say to that. It's the first season. And they're not going to kill off characters you're just getting to know. And first off, the manga's way ahead of the anime, but over this last arc of the manga, the author has like sent out like a PSA saying, like, that is the last time you'll ever see these characters laugh and have a good time together. Any character
I remember
in the show.
that.
So it's like, I think it amps up as it'll go along. We'll just have to wait for season 2 to see.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, with that, what do we got for number 3?
Well, actually, how about you just kick it off, Johnny? Because you said you had a close one there. I'm going to guess that your number 3 is Black Clover.
It's not. Black Clover didn't even make the list, actually.
I thought you said it was close with Jujutsu. No?
It was, I mean, there's aspects of Black Clover that I don't like. But at the same time, I feel like if the newest season came out for Black Clover, then it'd probably be on the list. But
gotcha.
That's
so what is your number?
Another day.
What is your number 3 then?
Hunter x Hunter.
Okay. So, I'll also share my number 3. My number 3 is also Hunter x Hunter. Yeah. After some deliberation amongst my top 3, I think Hunter x Hunter would be number 3.
That's on my list of shows that, like, I just non-stop grinded because I couldn't stop watching for the longest time. I mean, it's been a few years. I've watched It shows up on TV every once in a while, so I've seen episodes here or there, watched a few episodes here or there. I still go back and watch some of the fights just because how cool they are, like animation-wise. But, I mean, even just seeing, like, the beginning of those characters and towards the end, like, their progression, even though, like, realistically, it's not even that long of a time frame.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to think. Like a lot of these other shows, they have a huge time frame that they span all these episodes across, and Hunter x Hunter is one of those shows that it doesn't really do that. They're still like the same age. It's like a Pokemon complex. But personal growth is fucking crazy. I love the dark parts, but I also love like the lighthearted parts, which make the dark parts that much more depressing because of how lighthearted like Ghoul is and everything. And
Dude, I feel like that whole show, there wasn't really much dark shit until the ants came along. When the ants came along, that's when the Chimera ants came into being, that's when shit was like, oh, what the fuck is this?
Just thrown completely for
it's like, oh wow, they're actually just eating people.
And then that's when also, that's also when like a lot of your main characters and shit started getting wiped out, and you're just like, the fuck?
Yeah. R.I.P. Kite.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, there was sporadic dark. I mean, even the Hunter exams in the beginning, when Killua literally just took out like this serial killer's heart. Like they set up the serial killer as this big bad, like this crazy dude who's literally like his challenge is just to fight to the death, and then Killua just walks past him and takes his heart out.
Yeah.
Puts it in a little bag.
It in a paper bag.
No, or was it a shirt? I think it was a shirt or whatever.
It was like a handkerchief.
Yeah. That was just like wild. Because, this whole time Killua was just another little kid, just like Gon. And then once they start diving into all that.
That was in like the prison tower, right?
No, that was in the original arc.
Yeah, it was the Hunter exams in the original arc when they.
Yeah, it was like in the big tower, right?
Yeah, you had to do it in a certain time.
Yeah, it was. They took prisoners inside the tower. Yeah.
Yeah. But. Yeah, no, I mean, that's just like an A+ show. It's depressing that we're never gonna get more of it, but it is what it is. I think it's worthy of me being on the list for me. So.
Yep. Well, like I said, it's my number 3. I think it has the potential to be my number 1 shonen if it was ever finished.
All right, Jakey.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay. Throwing it back a little bit.
Yeah. That show is phenomenal.
Is that one similar to Bleach?
You could say so.
Okay.
It doesn't have like it. Well, he's a spirit detective, pretty much. So it's kind of the same deal, but I just think like Yusuke and all of them. I don't know, man. I can't even put into words how much I love that show.
I'll give it a go.
It's a long one. It's like 150 episodes or something like that, but it's definitely worth it.
I mean, in comparison to all the other shows we watch that are however many episodes at this point.
Yeah.
Dude, I think
and it's over. The thing is it's over, so you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about like catching up and like just keeping up with it. It's one of those shows you can just go through.
I remember when I decided that I wanted to watch One Piece, and I grinded for like 6 months watching like 3 or 4 episodes a day, nonstop.
Yeah, that's how it was for me for a while.
I watched the whole show in 2 months.
That's despicable, Jake.
Yep. Didn't do my college career any favors.
I wonder what your number 1's going to be.
Well, you can only guess.
Well, with that, let's go to number 2. Actually, speaking of, I got 2 for this, just because, and I know this is going to make people salty as fuck, but my number 2 is both One Piece and Bleach. And before you start talking mad shit, Jakey, for me putting Bleach on the same level, Bleach was like, other than Dead Man Wonderland, Bleach is what I started anime with. And honestly, 48% of that fucking show is filler. But at the same time, I feel like when Bleach does it, the things that Bleach does right, Bleach does really right. Like, some of the most badass moments that I, like, grew up watching shows, I remember from, like, those just stick in my head. Like, some of the craziest fights and things that go on in that show, and just, like, jaw-dropping moments for me. I think the things that they do right, they do so right. So I feel like it kind of just, as shitty as all the fillers are, I feel like the arcs that are actually canon are done really, really well. And I also say this knowing, reading the manga of the final arc that's coming out, and knowing how badass the arc is and how badass it's about to be once it's animated, completing the show once it finally drops. But yeah, I mean, I got into One Piece late, but I also am caught all the way up, so I mean, I've seen all of One Piece too. So as far as both of those concerned, I put them at the same standing. But
so here's what I have to say about that. My problem is not that you have One Piece and Bleach at the same level. Bleach is phenomenal. Bleach is really freaking good. And it has, in my opinion, the best soundtrack of any show I've seen. My problem is that One Piece is number 2 for you.
Yeah, I knew that was going to get there too. And honestly, I've got a controversial number 1, but we'll get there when we get there.
Oh, you guys are going to love my number 2 and number 1.
Yeah.
Jakey, I want to hear your number 2 first.
Well, here's what just last thing about Bleach. I'm really hyped for the newest season, John, because you've told me that after reading the manga, it's the best, like, arc of the show. And I'm really hyped because I really do enjoy Bleach. It's not my top 5, but I think it's a great show.
All I can do is cross my fingers and hope they don't throw a filler season in the middle of this last arc, because I know how Bleach does it. But I just think, like, Bleach has such badass, like, fight scenes.
Yeah, they are.
Like, but, and Orihime is, like, one of the tops, you know?
Yeah, she's your top waifu?
Not the top waifu, but she's definitely on the list. I mean, growing up, you just can't beat it.
I'm still a Rukia stan.
Really?
Yeah.
I just can't get over her always damsel in distress.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched past the first arc. As soon as What's-Her-Face got abducted by Aizen is when I stopped watching.
Yeah, so let me put it this way, Kurt. Just Google what to watch and what not to watch as far as episodes are concerned with Bleach.
The good thing is Bleach's filler are full arcs, so you can just skip the whole arc.
You can just skip the whole arc. It's not sporadic.
Okay.
So just skip the whole arc and then get back to the regular storyline. And when I tell you that there's going to be such badass moments in that show, like the first time that you see him with his, like, legitimate Zanpakuto after coming back, like, and just completely stunting on the 13 Court Guard Squad.
The Arankar arc did it for me.
Yeah, that was wild. But I just mean, like, you know, he gets the shit kicked out of him and then, you know, ends up just popping out and completely fucking up half the guard squad without even using his blade. Like, just puts it in the ground and just fucks up everybody. Like, but, alright, what do we got for number 2, Jake?
Haikyuu.
What was that?
Haikyuu.
Haikyuu.
The volleyball anime.
Oh, okay.
Shit. Wow. Okay.
That threw me for a curveball.
You can watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, you can.
That show changed my perspective on anime. First of all, it's amazing. I've never wanted to watch like sports anime, and I wasn't really into like slice of life and all that. But Haikyuu does it so well that first off, you learn a lot about the sport. I don't know how much you want to learn about volleyball, but I don't know. The characters are so well done. The intensity, the drama, everything is so well done. It is honestly, in my opinion, a perfect show.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I've definitely seen a lot on it, and like it's showed up in a lot of lists and shit too. So, but yeah, all right. Add to the queue. Kirky, what do we got? I mean, you got a little giggity in the corner there.
What do you mean?
I mean, you were giggling on your top two. So let's see, what do we got for number 2 for you?
My number 2 is going to be Assassination Classroom.
Okay.
Okay. It's interesting. I mean, it's not. Despite it being called Assassination Classroom, there's not a whole lot of action. It's very much kind of. I mean, there is. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of much more of a slice of life anime than it is an action anime. By all means.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. I all the characters in that I absolutely love.
I love the character development in that show.
Yep.
And like the way everything plays out and.
Yep. I was sad to see that anime end. That was the first anime that I'd ever watched, and I was like, ooh, it's over. Like, and you know what? It is my favorite ending. Also, I'll add that. Like, out of animes that have closed well, that one is hard to beat. Like, that one had an ending, and I was happy with it. I was like, wow, this is over. Like, but like,
you wanted
dang.
To like left like, ah, shit, I want more, but I'm glad it ended well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not even wanting more. I was satisfied. I was just like, yeah, it's over. Dang. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be upset if they did like an OVA, like a filler episode or something, like our filler arc, or even about stuff. Like, it would be cool to see like, oh my goodness, I can't even think of the main character's name. I put it on my number 2 list.
Is it Nagisa?
No, not Nagisa. The teacher.
Yeah,
the octopus. Well, he's not really an octopus. They make fun of him, and he goes, "I'm not an octopus." But I can't. Nagisa is the little boy that looks like a girl, kind of, which they also make fun of because they make him cross-dress.
I'd be down for a spin-off of him as like a grown-up assassin.
That would be cool, but also I would like to see just like a fun filler arc of the teacher going on like world travels everywhere, like in different countries and stuff, just doing whatever. Like a satire arc, essentially. But I would also be very interested for an additional season with the kids as grown-ups and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Whether it follows Nagisa or whether we have an individual episode for all the separate students.
Koro-sensei,
thank you. Oh, jeez. Oh, brain. Feels
it's
bad.
been a while since I've watched this.
But, simply because of how well they did from start to finish consistently with that anime is why it's my number 2.
Yeah.
That's the biggest reason. Is that's the only anime that I can ever say, or it's the only one that I am currently able to say, like, wow, that ended really well. I'm happy.
Alright, well, on to our last picks of the night.
Number 1. All right, Jake, let's talk about One Piece.
Yeah, I figured I would go first because mine's the most obvious.
Yeah. You are a resident One Piece expert, after all.
Well, you know, here's why I put One Piece at number 1. Because it's the greatest story ever told.
Haven't heard that before.
Yeah, it is. The characters are great. the world building. No show I've ever seen has come even close to the world building in One Piece. I attribute that a lot to it being so long, so it can flesh out the world that much. But I don't know, man. It is hard to put into words how much I love One Piece. It is so complicated. Then the show itself is phenomenal. And then you get into like the theories of what could happen and what's going on with the world government and the lost century 800 years ago and all that, and how that has to do with the characters, and oh man.
Yeah, it's just such like an overarching like story, and there's so much else going on while certain things are going on.
Yeah.
Like the world still runs outside of the arc that they're showing.
Exactly. Like stuff happens outside of the main character's journey.
Like everything with Sabo and the like everything else and all the other warlords. And it's cool because they sporadically like throw things in there.
Yeah.
To where you end up seeing other stuff that's going on. And most of the time it's just them seeing what's happening with Luffy. But yeah. I mean, I get you. I can understand why you're...
Jakey, how do you feel about One Piece not being on my list of top shonen anime?
Well, I'm a red-blooded American, Kirky. You can put whatever the hell you want on your list. Do I think it's a shame One Piece isn't on it? Yes. Do I think you're an idiot? No. Do I think you have bad judgment? Yes.
Let me explain. Don't get me wrong. I think One Piece is good and I like it. I still keep up to date with it, right? We're roughly 1,000 episodes deep, right? How many characters have died? We lost Ace and we lost Whitebeard. I think those are the only two characters that have died in 1,000 episodes. I'm sorry, but I'd love to see Zoro or like Usopp get killed off. Like, who cares if Usopp dies? Sorry,
don't you put that juju on them, guy.
Maybe that'll be the 1,000 episode announcement. They're gonna kill off a main character.
Brook is also dead.
Is Brook dead?
Oh, that doesn't count.
Brook is dead. Dude.
Yeah, is he?
He's dead.
I don't know.
He has died. He is. He's dead. That's his power.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. But anyways, and the other thing is that there's just too much backstory on certain characters. Like, I don't get me wrong. You need to develop your side characters, but sometimes enough is just enough. Like, you get too much. Like, they'll go 3 or 4 episodes deep on a character, developing them, and you're never gonna see that character again. It's just like, why was this necessary? Are we eventually going to go back here in 50 episodes? Like, what's the deal with this?
To make you care about that character, guy. First off, that's a sore subject, because I think personally, at least and I'm sure you could agree with this, for the Straw Hats, they do the best, like, backstory. It is unbelievable how good the backstory for those characters are. And they're all so dark.
Except for Luffy's.
Really?
I don't think Luffy's is that dark.
Alright, we'll leave it there.
I don't think it's as dark as...
It's not like Robin's or Sanji's, but...
Yeah.
Anyways... So, but, you know, they, like from Dressrosa, I forget his name, the guy who dresses as a baby.
Oh,
you know, yeah, so they go into the whole thing. The reason he does that is, like, his wife died, and, or went insane or something, and he dressed as a baby to, like, because their kid died or something, and I don't know, it's just... It gives you depth to that character, which puts more meaning on them in the moment that they are in the show.
That's
not going to go back to them because, you know, it's a grand adventure. But while they're in the show, they mean a little bit more to you because of that backstory.
Yep. You know what? You're not wrong. That's a fair point. And then I guess my only other reason that One Piece doesn't make my top 5 is every single arc pretty much has a happy ending. Like, they don't ever leave a place and have it be a sad ending. Like, everything always has to be good in the end. Like,
Marineford, Sabaody.
Right before the time skip, I mean, they all fucking had to go their own separate ways, and like they thought they died. Their crew members died. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Once Kuma fucking teleported them all.
yeah.
Forward.
Also,
I will
after the
say-
time skip, Nami just comes back with double D's. Like, you just get a
Yeah,
best
but are you
implant or
really
something?
are you really gonna sit here and say that doesn't better the plot, quote unquote plot?
Yeah, with that questionable little prison scene in Whole Cake Island.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Getting the One Piece fandom fucking going here.
Yep.
All right. Well,
I
we
speak.
know,
Hold on. I speak for the fandom when I say One Piece isn't the same for everyone, but it definitely speaks to some people, like myself.
I'd agree.
You know,
Alright.
yeah. I've seen people watch like the first couple episodes and not be into it, and I agree. I understand why they're not into it, but for me personally, it is the greatest there is.
Mm-hmm.
everybody has their. That's why I put a disclaimer in the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna have their own, outlooks on each different show or whatever it may be. But Kirk, why don't you give me your top?
Yeah, I can do that. You sure you want it? I'm gonna get flamed for this one. I can already tell. All right, my number one shonen is definitely Food Wars.
Okay. All right, that wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I'm not gonna lie. But no, I mean it's definitely different. I mean,
Great show.
it's a great show.
Yeah.
Definitely one of those shows you can't really watch in the living room, but
Oh, that's
definitely.
not true at all. I do it. I don't care. You want to watch this with me? Sure, go ahead. I got Mansell to watch the first episode. Fucking first 5 minutes, I forgot about the part where what's her face eats the peanut butter tentacles, and I'm like, oh shit. Well, there goes that. Mind
Well,
you,
let's just say this. I was one of the people that fell into the. I don't even remember who told me, but one of the people who fell into the. It's a great show. There's nothing bad. Just watch it. It's a cooking show. So sure as shit, in my living room with my mother, I said, this is a perfect show to watch. I mean, it's just like, it's not anything too crazy. My mom's not going to judge me too hard for it. And sure as shit, we didn't make it 5 minutes into the episode.
it was the first show that this person had done that wasn't a hentai.
Yeah.
I can definitely believe that.
Like, I shit you not. Like, look it up. I think it's hilarious. I love it. But at the same time, like, I mean, you guys both know me. Like, I love food, and every time I would watch an episode of that, it was like, all right, time to go to the kitchen. The only thing that I've ever made from the show, however, was the gotcha pork roast with like the potatoes wrapped in bacon and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll have to say, like, it came out phenomenal. Like, I definitely want to try other recipes.
Just watch anime.
Yeah, just watch that. I mean, there's other good food-based anime. Restaurant to Another World is another good one and stuff. I just love food anime. Like, I'll watch all of them, at least the first 3 or 4 episodes. Food Wars is definitely my number one. There's another one. It's a one based off of a Chinese kid. I can't remember the name of it. They just released another season of it, but that one's pretty good, with the exception of the fact that I don't like that there's like these legendary utensils and the legendary utensils make all the food taste better.
Oh yeah.
And like, there's these legendary techniques, and there's the cooking underworld. Like, the reason I like
Give me
food,
like a straight up cooking show.
the reason I like Food Wars so much more is because it's like, it's just straight up ability and things that people could really do. Like, I don't care about the supernatural food aspect. Like, cool, that's great. That's not anything I can ever do. Like, you're losing my interest by doing this. Like, I don't care about that. Like, the first season of the one that I was talking about, I can't think of the name of it. It's gonna bother me. I gotta look it up real quick. But the first season of it was good because there wasn't a whole lot of that, right? Like, they didn't mention they mentioned the legendary utensils, but you're just thinking like, oh, they're just talking about like a myth. Like, it is what it is. Like, he's gonna come across like legendary cooks. No, there's like actual legendary utensils made out of like the meteorite that fell on the eclipse or some shit. And I'm like, oh, this is ruining the anime for me.
Well, the thing I like the most about Food Wars that got me really into the show is I'm not big into cooking, or honestly, I love eating, but I don't really care what it is as long as it's food. The thing that got me into Food Wars was it makes cooking interesting. Like, the way Selma goes about it and everything, and then once they get to school, the battles and everything, just makes it interesting. It keeps you invested in something that, honestly, to most people is boring.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. They do a phenomenal job of just keep captivating you and keeping your attention like 24/7.
Yeah.
The show I was thinking of is called Cooking Master Boy. Premiered in spring 1997, apparently.
An old one.
Yeah, but they just came out with a new season of it recently. But like I said, it's becoming disappointing with the way the direction they're taking it on like the supernatural cooking side of things. It's just like I don't want that. I don't care about that. Like, why is this a thing?
Yeah. All right. Well, last but not least, my number one, High School DxD. I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't blame you for it.
I would.
It's actually Tokyo Ghoul.
What the fuck?
Love to hear it.
What was that? What was that remark there, Kirk?
The fuck?
What do you mean, what the fuck? We're not talking about season 3. We just throw season 3 out.
Oh, hold on. The first half of season 3 was good. Second half was ass.
There was no part of season 3 that was good.
It wasn't as good as the first 2 seasons, but the first half
dude,
at least followed the story at
one
a
of my
reasonable pace.
my ultimate favorite.
You know what? I do love
the music and the staging and all the like the backstory and all the shit that happened in that final episode of season 1 with Jason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When you literally completely turn Kaneki and he just goes from like the innocent kid who wants to be fucking normal.
Oh, I love
again
watching him lose his mind.
Absolutely like mental nutcase.
Well, you know what it does a remarkable job at is like, you know how the whole entire time he's like crossing the line between human and ghoul and he doesn't know what he is. That's when that's when he really goes, yeah, I'm a ghoul. Like, fuck everything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when he's just literally getting tortured for hours on end, like just fingernails ripped out, centipede in the fucking ear.
No, fingernails not ripped out. He's cutting off his fingers and letting them grow back and cutting them off again.
And just like the centipede in his ear. And
oh yeah, count back from 1,000.
Yeah, like just the craziest shit. And like the song that they played at the end, like at the start of that fight, when he just turns,
Unravel.
It was like amazing. Like it just matched it so perfectly, and it was so like the way it wrapped up at the end. I mean, yeah, it's up there. And then Noragami was honestly like my honorable mention for that too. I don't know if anybody watched that, but I thought that was so well done too.
I've seen like the first half like 17 times.
Is that the one about the
the
god that's just trying to?
Yeah, it's the god.
that doesn't have any followers.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, he has one, but
Yeah.
you know.
The depressing like backstory and like all the everything that getting into his sword, like his sword's backstory and everything else was crazy too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we did have another.
Are we all doing an honorable mention that we'd like to throw in?
Yeah, throw in an honorable mention. That's
Jakey, you have one in mind or no?
I need to think about it for a sec.
All right. I guess my honorable mention. I didn't really have any super long ones in my list. I guess I still don't, because my honorable mention is just going to be World Trigger.
okay.
It's been in my queue.
It's you got to be. It hits a certain spot for certain people. It's definitely like a different sort of animation style
Yeah.
and like character.
The newest seasons are kind of bad. I'm not going to lie. Like, the newest seasons lost interest for me, but the first couple of seasons were...
It's definitely a little
Grade
different.
A.
It's not bad. I like the show, but it's definitely a little different, and it's definitely gonna. It's one of those shows that you either like it or you don't. Type
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah.
But worth an honorable mention for sure.
Yep. Alright, my honorable mention would be Akame Got Kill. That's shonen,
Yeah.
right?
Is it?
I don't think it is.
I don't believe it is either.
I don't think it's on the. No, I don't think it's Shonen Jump.
Well, it's my honorable mention regardless.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure that's gonna come up on other lists too and everything too because that's a great show.
Yeah. Main reason as death. Enough said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another waifu. Well, we had one more topic, but we're running a little late here tonight, so we're going to push that back to next week. I know Jake has a lot to say about one of the points, so we'll definitely make sure to bring it up next week. Is there a specific show we want to shout out, and maybe a different show that we've been watching, something to recommend to people? Anything that's been on the list lately that you started or want to recommend?
I have two recommendations. They're not... I watched them a long time ago. But, first one's Future Diary. Mirai Nikki. That show is just extremely complex and really dark and honestly surprisingly complicated, if that makes sense. I don't really want to go too much into it. If you like battle royales, watch Future Diary. And my second one is Classroom of the Elite.
Yep. I've seen a lot on that too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really bummed that there's probably never going to be a second season, but Ayano Koji is one of the
Brilliant.
coolest main characters, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mm.
Kargi?
What am I doing? My honorable mention?
No. Just like a random recommendation, maybe.
Oh, right, a recommendation.
Maybe something people haven't seen yet or whatever.
Yeah, I guess I'd go back to my number 2 or 3. I forget what it was. I think it was my number 2. Assassination Classroom. I think not too many people really know about that anime, and I would strongly recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
It's very easily
To watch.
watched in a weekend. It's
yeah.
not...
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's over. You can kind of just watch it straight through and move on.
Yep, I know I've watched it, I think 3 times now.
Yeah. Mine's another one that's kind of 13 episodes, easily watchable in a day or two. I sure as shit did it. Charlotte. I know that's Jake loved that show. I loved that show.
Yeah, it's so good. The last episode of that show is one of my favorite anime episodes of all time.
It was very well done, and I feel like it wasn't pushed too far to started and ended exactly how it needed to.
Exactly.
And, they didn't make it anything it wasn't, and just kind of kept it within its 13 episode premise and finished off great. It's definitely worth a watch. very touching.
Yep.
But all right, we are gonna wrap it up for tonight. We are in the process of working on some social media stuff. Should be in the works within the next week or two. Get a mailbag going, and we definitely wanted to start maybe a cool little draft topic, which would be fun to get everybody to interact in on a week-to-week basis. So once we get everything going, definitely give it a shout out and where to reach us at. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to episode 2. Hope that we got plenty more to come in the future weeks, and I think we're going to sign off. All right. Night, everybody.
Good night.
See ya.